Well, wow, it's hard to believe we're already at week 7. So many of you have some assignments that you need to get caught up on, and you guys have been great communicating with me about those assignments, but I need you to get those to me by the end of the week because what I have to do is going into next week, I have to assign zeros to all those assignments. Now, that doesn't mean I can't go back and change that assignment once you submit it, but I have to show the zeros so you know exactly what your true grade is going into week 8. So I just want to remind you of that. Don't forget that. And for this week, don't get too hung up on doing this discussion part for your CAP assignment. Really what I recommend is you're going to do an abstract and a discussion. You need to look at your APA student example within your student resources online. So when you go into your class, under learning activities, you'll see student resources. Click on that, go into APA formatting, and then go under the student example. And many of you I've emailed that link to. But just look at that. Kind of go by that as far as your discussion goes. And basically, you are discussing what research has shown about your topic. Oops, there we go. Let me get that off. Basically, you're going to show what research has shown about your topic. So you're going to go into the EBSCO library that you have, look at peer-reviewed journals, quote those journals, let me know what those journals are saying specifically about your research. You're actually discussing it. So that's what you need to do in that portion. If you have any questions, let me know. So for the devotional this week, I wanted to read Psalms 37, verse 4 through 5, and it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord and trust in him, and he will act." And I thought about this scripture. My mom had a kind of a funny story this week. My dad actually went into the hospital, he had some heart surgery, and everything's fine. He's doing great. But she had on this skirt this one particular day, this really pretty skirt. It's one of her favorite ones. I always see her wearing it. She walked out into the hall, and there was a gentleman across the way who was sitting with his sick mother. And he came out and he said, "You know, my mom really likes that skirt. Can you tell me where you got that skirt?" And she replied, "Well, I think it was, some retail chain. I won't say what it is, but she said some retail chain." And he said, "Okay, well, thank you." And so she didn't think very much about it. She started, got in her car and she was leaving and she was driving and she thought she heard kind of God put on her heart, not out loud, but in her heart, she heard, "I want you to give that man your skirt for his mother." And she thought, okay, that's the most ridiculous thing. First of all, this is my favorite skirt, and I'm not just going to go hand him my skirt. What, my goodness, But she prayed about it, and she just kept feeling God wanted her to give that skirt to him. So she thought, okay, God, if that's what you want me to do, I'll give that skirt to him. But she passed the chain where she thought she had bought the skirt. She happened to go by it, so she thought, I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to see if I can find another skirt just like this one, and then I don't have to give him mine. So she went into the store, and she was looking around, and guess who she saw in that store? Yes, the gentleman from the hospital looking for that skirt, which was kind of funny. To me, that just seems like kind of a God thing, right? So he was looking for that skirt, and he said, "Well, I can't find it." She says, "Well, I'll help you." And they looked all over, and she couldn't find it. And she said, "Sir, I really feel like I'm supposed to give you this skirt, and I'll go home and wash it this afternoon, and I'll bring it back to the hospital for you." And she thought in her head, well, surely he won't take it, right? Well, he said, "Oh, I would love that. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to pay you for it." She's like, "Of course, I don't want any money." But she said, "I couldn't believe I walked out and I was being tested to give my skirt. I thought maybe that was enough. But no, God actually really wanted me to give that guy this skirt to his mother." And so we don't know what the rest of that story is. We don't know if she's being tested or, this is some way to minister to this family. We don't know why God asked my mom to do that. But the point is that she listened. And I think there's a lot of joy and blessings in listening to that inner voice and that God speaking to your heart. Some people hear him out loud. I've never heard him out loud. Some people do, but I think sometimes we hear it. But obviously it's not out loud, but we really hear it loud and clear in our heart. And I think that it's always important, whether we can justify it or whether there's a reason or maybe we don't even understand, it's important to follow through with whatever he lays on your heart. She said she had so much joy that day. And yes, she lost her skirt, but that intrinsic feeling of knowing that she listened and she was able to gift that woman that skirt was so much more rewarding than something material that she was trying to hold on to. And I think that that's what God intends for us to do. It doesn't make sense sometimes what he puts on our heart, but in the end, it's going to be best for us and bring us the most joy. We read that scripture one more time. It says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act. Right? You guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next week.